Hello, I'm Dr. David Fletcher. Today I wanted to tell you about a procedure that we do at Executive Health that many men and also many women find very interesting because they need it. What I'm talking about is NeoGraft hair transplantation. NeoGraft is a wonderful technology. The NeoGraft machines were invented in France about 12, 13 years ago, and we currently use a third generation machine. We've been using it about 4 years. We've had absolutely no trouble with it. What NeoGraft does, it takes individual hair follicles out of the back of your head, between your ears really. This band of hair in the back of your head is destined to last your lifetime. Usually when you lose hair, it's up in here. And this little band of hair stays all around here. So that's the place that all hair transplant people go to get the hair follicles that they need to plant in other areas where you've lost your hair. This was particularly of interest to me because I lost my hair. And so in 1970, well, it was about 4 years ago, I took my motorcycle to Alaska and I made the mistake of driving off a cliff. My buddies winched me back up again, and we went to a local town where we worked on my motorcycle. But that night, my friend took a picture of me in the motel, which I wanted to show you. And that's the picture of me right there. Now, if you look at it very carefully, you can see I don't have any hair on top. I was bald as a cue ball. And so when we got back from that trip, my wife insisted that I have a hair transplant. Well, another doctor and I had gotten interested in hair transplant technology, and we vowed to each other that if the opportunity ever came along, we were going to learn how to do it so we could fix ourselves. And we heard about this NeoGraft technology, and we both went to a meeting to learn more about it, and eventually went back several times to learn how to do it. The major thing on this machine is that it costs about $86,000. So it's really an expensive machine, but it does a fantastic job. And at first when we got this machine, I thought that I would spend the rest of my days transplanting hair. But what I found was that I've fallen off too many motorcycles and too many horses and messed up my neck, and I can't do that fine concentrated work that this requires, and for hours at a time. And fortunately, the NeoGraft people have trained technicians, and so we can get these certified technicians, fly them in here, and we usually get 2 at a time so that they can put in plenty of grafts in one day, and we get your hair done. And that's precisely what I had. I originally had 2,000 grafts in the front part of my head, and then later my wife wanted me to get another 2,000 in the back half. When you plant these, you actually remove them from the back of your scalp. You clip the hair down with a little hair clipper like you'd use to shave your whiskers in the morning, but you do it back here. And then that lets just a little whisker, a little tip of the whisker stick out of the skin. You place this machine, as a little thing looks like a dental tool, and you place it with the barrel over that, mash a button with your foot, and it goes zoop, and it takes out that little whisker, root and all, and puts it in a small container in the back of the machine that has salt water in it. So you spend all morning harvesting as many grafts as you need. There is a limit to how many grafts you can do in a day. If you do too many grafts, that's usually somewhere over 2,500, 3,000, 4,000. If you do more than that, then you run the risk of something called graft shock, where you might lose all your hair. So you don't want to do that. We usually limit our grafts to about 2,400 in a day. But that takes 2 technicians all day long to do that. And we usually spend all morning taking the hairs out, and then we spend all afternoon putting the hairs back in up here. If you're completely bald on the top, it's going to take more than one procedure to do it. It's a very interesting technology. I'd love to tell you more about it. And if you'll call the office, I'll be happy to talk to you about it. Or you can visit us. I'll be happy to look at your scalp, and we can make an estimate of what kind of procedure you would need, and talk about how you could get it financed. It's important that after you have your hair transplants put in, that you have to care for it in a certain way, especially for the first week. We teach you how to do that. You do start to wash your hair the very next day, but there's a special way that you do it, because these hair transplants can actually be pulled out for the first 5 days or so. So there's a special way that we do that, special way that you need to sleep. But then after that, that hair is in there solid. It grows about 1/4 of an inch a month for the first couple of months. So in about 6 to 8 weeks, you'll have a little tiny hair that you'll be able to see. And you'll think, man, this is great. And then about that time, that hair starts breaking off. You'll find little black pieces of hair on your pillowcase or something. At first, I thought they'd all fall out at the same time, but they don't. They're just a gradual kind of thing. And about 6 weeks after it falls out, the new hair grows up from the bottom. Now, once that hair comes out, it's your permanent hair, and it's going to grow about 1/4 of an inch a month. So in about 6 months after you have your initial hair transplant, your real hair will be about that long, okay? And then in a year, it will be just hair. And you can start, after a week, you can start trimming it in the back, but up here this hair grows so slowly, it'll probably be a month or so before you actually have to have it trimmed at the barber. About 40% of our patients are women. I never knew that women had such a problem with hair falling out, but they do. Sometimes it's due to hormonal difficulties, but most of the time in women, we really never find the reason why they originally lost their hair. We just fix the problem. In men, it's usually family related. And if your uncle and your brothers and your daddy lost hair, then there's a real good chance that you're going to lose hair. There are also certain techniques that we teach you to help you keep the hair that you already have, because you don't want to continue losing hair at the pace that you've been doing it. And so that's all part of the education process that we put you through when you come here for your hair transplant. Hair transplants are expensive. No doubt about it. We have certain financing options through Care Credit. But when you're transplanting this hair, you're going to have this hair hopefully for the rest of your life. And when you buy a new truck, in a couple of years, it's only worth half of what you paid for it. But these hair transplants, they hold their value. If you don't believe it, then just look at me. I please my wife mightily. She thinks I look so much better with hair than I did without it. Thanks a lot for listening.